There we are, live. Good morning from
Hi, everybody.
foggy mountains. Although it's all just starting to burn off, so it's nice. We had some precipitation. So here we are. I'm sure everyone will start signing on fairly soon. So you get this little, it always takes a while. If you were looking at our end of the screen, what our screen looks like is it says live, and now it shows a couple of people. There's Kristen. Hey, hi there.
Hi, Kristen.
There we go. Okay,
Hi, Robert.
Okay. Hi, Ruth. Shalom.
Hi, Ruth.
Hey, Robert. Good to see you. It's been a while. Hello, Rose. Bonjour. Nice to have everyone here. So I can see there's a crowd coming on. Hey, MB. Nice to see you
Mary
there.
Beth.
Big hugs to everyone. Hi,
Hi.
Jane. Nice to see you. And there we are. Hello. On peut faire le tour bilingue ce matin. There we are. Hey, Michelle. Nice to see
Ciao.
you. Guten Tag.
Hannah.
Hi, Hannah. Nice to see you. So here we are. Nice morning. Hey, it's lovely to have her. So we are sitting out now.
Casey.
Hey, Casey. Good morning, Casey. We were talking about you yesterday because we were looking at lots of gorgeous paintbrush around.
And I have a paintbrush picture for you that I will send to you, Casey.
Hey, up me ducks. So, hi, Mary Lou. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's a foggy sort of a morning. I'm not swimming because I was out early this morning. Arlene, hi, nice to see you. I was out early this morning. Of course, my intention was to sleep in. And then I went out in the cool weather, almost a little bit of rain. So I went out biking hard and I fell off my bike. Oh, well, it happens a lot on my big bike. So, but it was a fun morning. But we're just down by the river here. Hi, Patty. Nice to see you. I'm glad you saw it, Annie. Yeah, it's I'm having calendar issues, but Anna-Marie, but also I know there's going to be a new system coming up, so I'd say I haven't made it a huge priority at the moment.
Mary Lou.
So here we are. Let's start with the Bow River. So it is autumn here in the Canadian Rockies, of course, and we're down to, this is where one of the three places I go swimming a lot. Hi, Pauline. Nice to see you here. So there is our newer pedestrian bridge. So we are going to loop around and we're going to do some of the art walk here in Banff because, well, for a few reasons. It's lovely. Hi, Anne. Nice to see you. And saying hi to you, Diane.
Hi, Anne. Hi, Ronnie.
So good to have everyone here. Now, it is sort of a blustery little morning. It's about 10 degrees Celsius, which is 50 Fahrenheit. I had to Google that, so it was nice to see it. But there's the river. Look at the lovely colors in it, though. So we went all the way up to Pito Lake yesterday, which is gorgeous. Don't you think?
It's fascinating. It's spectacular up there, and it's so pretty.
It is magical. So today, of course, for all of you in North America, hi, Elisa. For everyone here in North America, this is Labor Day. So I hope I don't go into labor, but so as well. But I do hope maybe we could start taxing corporate profits rather than just people. So. Anyway, so we're down here. They've got these lovely big walks in Banff, and it's called the Art in Nature Trail. We're actually going to go over the one bridge and make our way over to our other pedestrian bridge. And then Diane and I are going to go enjoy the Cascade of Times Gardens. I don't know if Pam is here yet. Pam was going to come and join us today, but she wasn't feeling 100%. Hiya, Pat. So the Art in Nature Trail, even though the arrow's pointing to the right, we're going to go to the left because we can still make our way over. But let's start. So there's a whole bunch of stories to this art walks that we have. We've been doing them for a long time in Banff, but it's been lovely, particularly during the pandemic period, because of course outdoor, people were separated, but they had this one tree and they basically cut it into all these sections, and different artists from all ages were able to come and do their own interpretations on it. So, this is based on one of Carter Ryan's paintings, right? And we are such rebels. And it is lovely to see, of course, and that same painting, of course, is in the in Calgary International Airport as well. But let's go over for a little walk. So we're here in Banff, and as my friend Robert said, okay, it's hello in the Blackfoot language. So we're on Treaty 7 territory here. Or I could say Umbawastich, which is hello in Stoney Nakoda. I do, just before we do the full art walk, I want to take everyone up just to see that sign up there, because we are getting ready for the rut. So, Diane, the first evening we were out driving, we went and saw a whole lot of elk. And in case you haven't seen, did you, Robert? That's great. If you haven't seen that little short video I did, the elk are out. The rut has not started yet, but it really is getting ready. So the big, hey, thanks for the stars. The big bull elk are just starting to shed the velvet on their antlers now. And so keep at least 30 meters away. That's 100 feet. And take that very seriously. When the elk, hi Cindy, when the elk tip their heads down, the antlers are pointing out, that's the aggressive stance. It will be noisy, Rosemary. You're absolutely correct. When the rut begins, it's actually out around here, which you've seen on some of my previous live virtual tours where we've seen the rut. That's out towards the Warner stables. And so that's one of the places. I'm lucky, or we're lucky at my house. It's such a narrow backyard that they would never, we get elk back there, but they would never come and settle in for the rut. So what happens is the large males, the last month or so, have been eating non-stop, and they've been growing their antlers up to half an inch, a centimeter a day. Can you imagine? And that velvet you get are actually tiny capillaries where they're moving blood through their antlers. And then they're growing them, and of course then they shed all of that, which is quite a yucky process. But they shed all of that, and then they all of a sudden become quite aggressive as they gather up their harems. But the young males who don't yet have the ability to gather up a harem are also just flowing with testosterone in their bodies, and they become aggressive as well. So most of the year we don't really worry about the elk. A few other things just to point out which are fun, and Diane's been watching. Even since Diane arrived here last week, the water levels are dropping a little bit. You see, it looks like there's a little bit of beach out there, and gradually, because we're getting down, like by Thursday, apparently it's going to be freezing overnight, but then daytime temperatures will get right up to 20, 22, which is, 65, 70. So that's what happens in autumn here. And, we jokingly say so often June, July, winter, but in real terms, like literally September 1st came and the temperature started to change. And of course, all of the trees have started changing now. Now, about 90% of our forests are evergreen, but we're getting the other ones changing along. There, by the way, is Mount Rundle just coming out. It is cloudy, but it's burning off. It'll be clear by this afternoon. Unfortunately, saying a little bit of local smoke is blown in, but tomorrow will be clear. Look at the great big aspen. There they are, trembling aspen in the true sense there. We don't have a lot of cloudy days here, as all of you know. And actually, Diane's seen the weather. Aside from a bit of smoke, she's seen exactly the way it should be. Mostly clear. The other day, we woke up to a bit of rain, and then it cleared right up in Canmore. Remember that? It was just... By the way, there is the Buffalo Luxton Museum. And you've had hot sun, have you, Rosemary? And the white flag was just blowing. That's the Treaty 7 flag out there. So, but let's go off and look at some art, because that's our purpose of our walk today. Unless we'd actually love to see Diane go for a swim. Do you want to go? No? Okay. I guess we'll go for art. Hi, Carolyn. Nice to see you here. It is, hey, morning. It's, yes, Kristen, I see your hurricanes down there already, and going from class 1 to class 4 in, overnight is just another indicator of what's happening climate-wise. But today, of course, being a holiday here, is Labor Day, and so town will get very, very busy. So we're having we're going to do the art walk, and then we're going to visit the Cascade of Time Gardens, go see the flowers, and then have a nice, nice chill time. Young lady with a gimbal there. But these gardens, of course, that leads up to the main street of Banff. We're going to stick along the art walk here. Now, it would probably take about 2 hours to really stop and do justice to every piece of art. So we won't do them all, but here you have just the whole way along. So this one is called Cascade Ponds, which we've only driven by. So I thought tomorrow morning we'd probably go on. So this is Dawn Saunders right there, and that's her interpretation of the Cascade Ponds. I am Merle. So it's lovely to see. And this will be up for another few weeks. We have the main street is pedestrianized till Canadian Thanksgiving. Now look at this from Maxime Lagacé. By discovering nature, you discover yourself. And I totally agree with that. Now, we're going to come up to this next piece of art here, Diane. Now, Diane really wanted to touch this one, but I told her to leave it alone. but this is nature's wisdom.
Oh, lots of wisdom.
Lots of wisdom. But actually, when you look more closely at this one, do you see? It says empower, harmony, passion, wisdom. right? There's something about, of course, when the leaves fall. Now, we don't have these maple leaves here, needless to say. Hi, Tanya. But it is lovely to see this, and this is Leslie Russell. I probably know about a third of the artists through here. Some of the kids from the schools as well are along here, which is nice to see as well. So this one back here is called Connection. Very wintry scene there. But that's Mount Rundle, and of course all the water systems coming together. Lisa, great question's metal. Those are metal over there. Great question. Hey, Tanya, nice to see you here. So that one's Connection, and then Ripples and Reflections by Lucy Boss. And again, this was all one tree. It wasn't cut down. It was felled, and then they cut it into all these sections so that so many different artists were able to participate in this. So it's lovely. And of course, we have our deep turquoise. So we did yesterday afternoon. Well, the sun came out. It sort of barely rained, but it cooled down. And of course, we love it. We love it any time it rains because, of course, we're so dry this year. But we went and met Diane. And then Finn and his friend Christelle and I went swimming in Two Jack Lake. For those who've been here, now I lasted 6 minutes. The kids lasted about 1. Two Jack's cold, and it was a cold day, but it was pretty nice. Look at this. This is, of course, a beautiful, beautiful quote from Leonard Cohen, the greatest songwriter of all time. There is a crack in everything, and Michael Cameron is the artist here. But I think that's quite a moving piece. But there's actually so much dotted along here. So there's a sign here saying danger falls ahead. Or as my French friends say, oh, shoot. That's the French word for falls. But that's, of course, leads up to the Bow Falls. We'll maybe later on take a drive back by the golf course, see if we can find some more of the elk down there. So coming up here, Fairies in the Forest by Gail Smiley. Look at that one. This is the kind of one that you'd actually spend a long time, I think, looking at, just to gradually extract. Yeah. Oh, and then Elizabeth, who is 8 years old. This is what I love about the values here in our community. Thank you for the trees. How's that for a quote? Pretty straightforward. It better not fall, that's true. I think thank you for the trees is really lovely. So there, of course, is our pedestrian bridge. That one's 1921, but the first bridge was as early as 1883, and that's because, of course, the hot springs, which were first found. There's Pam. Hiya, Pam. Big hugs to you. So
Hi,
everyone,
Pam.
Yeah. So we were hoping to do this walk with Pam this morning, but she's not feeling 100%. But maybe if you feel better later, Pam, we'll go and do shots of whiskey. That'll make you feel better. Now, Albert Einstein. He's a smart fellow. Look deep into nature, and then you will understand everything better. Now, when we talk about looking deep into nature, Albert Einstein was looking down so far down. As Richard Dawkins says, we live in Middle Earth, right? There's an Earth that is so tiny, or a world that is so tiny, the subatomic, that we exist in a different sense. You know what? Let me just quickly show you this over here, Diane, because you haven't seen this plaque, but it's just a really nice peak finder. And so it shows a little bit of everything in the general area as we look over to Sulphur Mountain, which is about 8,000 feet up there. By the way, for my Australian friends, hey Joe, for the Australian friends on board, Finn has an Australian rugby ball in the car, so we were playing that up at Lake Louise yesterday, which was great fun. And pour ceux qui parlent français, les sommets qui nous entourent. Isn't that lovely to see? So Mount Rundle, of course, was a missionary. But Diane, I want to bring you around the side for a minute. And your feet will get a little damp, but it's worth it because you have to walk out into the grass here. Now, when my kid left this morning, what did I say to him? I said, bye, son. And here's some buffalo over here. So it's fun to share. See, I like these pieces here. Aren't these fantastic? Look at that. So, of course, bison were reintroduced to the national park here in 2017. And you will remember that last spring we had a Banff baby bison boom, 14 baby bison born in Banff. The problem is right now that the wolves haven't. Well, there's Diane. You're right in the middle of the shot, so do a handstand for us. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Come do a handstand for us. I think my shoulder won't actually allow for a handstand today. I did this morning. I went head over heels on my bike. I wanted to come up here. Robert, I hope you're still there. It's faded a little bit, but there's the land acknowledgement in the spirit of respect, reciprocity, and truth. We honor and acknowledge that the town site of Banff is on the traditional Treaty 7, and the art and nature in Banff National Park is within the present-day territories of Treaty 7 and 8 First Nations, as well as the Métis Treaty 3. Now, it's, you know what, I fall off the bike so much. It's because I like to go really fast downhill. This is a gorgeous place in here, isn't it? So, yeah, it is lovely to see. Natalie's saying there's my friend. See? So yeah, I'm wearing shorts, but I did put on an extra layer today because it's about 10 degrees, which is about 50 Fahrenheit. And yeah, Diane's been wearing, you're not in capris. You've worn capris.
Covered like winter.
Almost covered like winter. Well, it's, I didn't go for a swim today, but I did have a cold shower this morning. This one I think is really an interesting one. It says, "May the forest heal your heart." And Bigudi is the artist. It's not someone I know. May the forest heal your heart. But usually when you see a feather like that, it is indicative of indigeneity, and so is the color orange. So I'm gonna expect that Bigudi is probably an indigenous artist. But it's fun to feel the cold, to be honest. And of course, well, as you've noticed, Diane, how dry it is, even today, which is a little down.
Very dry.
Yeah.
Extremely
dry. So it's not an unbearable cold at all. See, we still have flowers out, which are lovely. Are you having summer now in Ireland? That's great. So we're down under the bridge here. I would do an echo, but there's someone here, so it's always fun to do a morning echo. But I don't want to surprise someone. So here we're going to go up to John Burrow. I go to nature to be soothed and healed and to have my senses put in order. It does seem like a pretty reasonable thing to do. Humid, oh, look at that. Humid and 90 right now in Wisconsin. So 90 is like 33.
I knew it was going to
Yeah,
be hot.
that is, goodness me. It was interesting though. I was telling Diane that when we had the heat dome 2 years ago, we actually did hit 40 here, which is 100. And we should never, ever, ever be that hot here. Yeah, so Marslin Calm by Kayla Eckelboom right here. So now, Anna Marie, I believe you were over in Sweden. Are you home now? It's some pretty good traveling. We're down below, the Royal Canadian Legion, and then the building up the house a little further along is where the superintendent of the park gets to be. The reason you have mesh around these trees is to stop the young beavers coming and chopping them down. And now someone else is quoting Leonard Cohen here, saying there's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. And it does make sense. Lovely piece. Yeah. Now that, I would expect that Dawn Anasnasi McIntyre is probably Métis. Sounds like not you. So who was over in Sweden? Somebody was over in Sweden. Because I think, well then Anna Marie, you should come out here, because you should have come out here this summer. This is an interesting piece around here. Look at these, that's, Embraced by Nature. That's what this is entitled. And that's Lucy Bose as well. So, sorry, did you say you're going to hit 39 degrees in Ottawa? That's crazy. Oh, someone's got their bike down there. That is seriously crazy. Now, Andy Warhol. I'll raise a cup of soup to him. But land really is the best art, says Mr. Warhol. I had no idea the East was going through a heat wave. So, well, what's happening with us is, of course, we're hanging out here. We've had some pretty vigorous days. So we're hanging out around Banff town today, and tomorrow we're going to do things like the cave. Tomorrow will be a lot quieter. This is a gorgeous piece here. It's, yeah, a place to heal, a place to grow. Marcos Molina. But then Wednesday, in the end, we're going to go in to the city because Diane flies home Thursday, and I meet a group on Thursday. I meet 34, 35 people. Casey, it's hot down there too, eh? So, and then I'm heading back down to Yellowstone and Jackson one last time this year. And it's fun going down later in the year. I find I get a lot more freedom around the park. Oh, there you are. Now, Diane's made a friend on the ground here. She said this is such a fun guy, but it is the time of year that all the mushrooms are coming out. So, hi Lorraine, nice to see you here. So, but you see, there's still lots of wildflowers. We've had a gorgeous, gorgeous flower season. The thistle has already come and gone. Now, these are the bears. I still haven't found a bear yet for Diane, but it is a little harder this time of year because the snowpack's gone, so they're higher up in the hills. But that's Brenda Hine. And then Alice Conniff says, time for reflection. And that is very reflective. Hey, Annie, I see everyone's having a laugh, but I did tell Diane if she really... yeah, I have been in Yellowstone a lot this year, yeah, and down at the Teton. Saw, big mother grizzly with a cub the very last day of my last trip down just north of Jackson. But I do like the fact that when we do see animals here, of course, we're actually seeing them in nature. It's your first live trip from... Hey, Justino, nice to have you here from Liverpool. So, well, it's lovely to have you here. You see that? Time spent among trees is never wasted time, says Katrina Mayer, as does Patrick Toomey. Now, this one's kind of fun because this next one here says look up. That's what I do to you, Diane. And if I look down here, if you look up, right up here, there's actually some glass figures and they're bats up in the trees. See that? And lovely to see.
Gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. So these art walks are just such a treat to be able to do. And bats are good. Bats are such fascinating creatures, of course, flying mammals. We do have flying squirrels a little further west from here. You don't get to see them too often. But this is Betty Woolley Minode. And Minode is a very important Banff name here because the Minode family are one of the Swiss families. And we have Minodes, which buy a lot of our mountain equipment for skiing and climbing and all that sort of thing. So here is the resilient forest. Now I really like this one because this is showing a forest after a burn. And of course you leave the trees that are burnt, you leave them in situ because they help hold the ground together. And the nitrates then are released and the new forest starts to come up. Of course, this is a huge ongoing challenge for all of us. But Julien Roulier, I think that's a brilliant piece of art there to have that. So, but there's just so much snuck in here. This piece was up last year as well, coming up over here. I think that's just a gorgeous reflective piece. Now gradually, a little bit of haze. And this is called The Path We Walk. I think, a very interesting... Oh, thank you for the stars, people who are passing them on. As I say, for the first time, I actually received a little money from Mark Zuckerberg. He didn't have to call me up to borrow any. He seemed to be okay. But I think I received $27 from Facebook, but it's just fun. Well, Merle, Wednesday's probably not going to work because we're going to be going into the city, but we can maybe see you on Friday. So have a look at this one. Now, this is Carter Ryan. Oh, that a piece at the beginning was clearly Carter Ryan as well. So he is a Dene. He's an indigenous Yes, they do take it down. Great question. And they'll take down the art because, of course, when it starts to snow, it'll break everything down. But yeah, so, but Carter Ryan lives in Canmore, next town over, of course, and it's a beautiful town. Hi, it's Sarah. Nice to have you joining. Now we're coming up to the older pedestrian bridge. This one was finished in 2005. It was designed in 1905. But here's our beautiful rainbow bridge, something I'm extremely proud of. Some of you maybe caught my my TikTok yesterday. Made me furious about a school trustee in Red Deer, Alberta, who somehow thinks that celebrating diversity and pride is equivalent to fascism. So one needs to push back on that. See that? That's how we deliver our kids in the morning here. The art patty comes down, I believe, just around Thanksgiving, about the same time that they open up the pedestrian street. So, for example, we look over on our bridge. It was nice and quiet this morning, but the bridge is getting busier and busier, and that's because this is, of course, still a holiday here. So by pedestrianizing the main street, I love it, Banff Avenue, but it does create a pinch for traffic on the other side. And of course, about a third of Banff lives on the other side of the river here. And you have the mighty Banff Springs Hotel, which was totally full this weekend. We also had a cacophony of weddings in Banff, up behind my house, actually. I showed Diane the field where you see them all. Now, just looking out here, you're looking out Mount Rundle, just peeking through. By the way, in the afternoons when it's hot, this is where I swim in the afternoons. I come out here. Oh, look, the geese just all ran into the water there. But I'll come in here, and it doesn't drop off till you get to sort of the end of this old cement pillar. And then I can swim out and swim into the current and float back down. So that's a real afternoon swim. And I really like it, but it's after I've been out biking. Now, what we don't see right now, normally we'd look down Muskrat and we'd see Cascade Mountain, but it hasn't broken out yet. But it will be by this afternoon. We never stay all that cloudy. I mean, it's very rare that it lasts. I think actually when Robert here was the 1 week in 2 years. But that if it's going to generally rain, it's spring. Well, Lisa, great question. How deep is the river? It is getting shallower every day, and you can see it. The main channel flows year-round, of course, because it's, an active river, and you can see where the deeper turquoise is. I couldn't tell you exactly, but well above my head, and I'm about 17 feet tall or something. No, it's well above my head at the deep channel, and you can see it. Now, this right over here on the right is fun. Absolutely, Robert. Right here where these rocks are, in the next 2 weeks, that will have no water on it there, and the channel will be around here to the left. And that's where all the trees pile up along the old bridge there as they've come down. So, and all of the sand that looks like beach, and it really is, that is roughly, Natalie, 5 meters. That is all ground up mountains, of course. Yeah, I had a dream last night about someone being super tall, now that I think about it. Oh, look at the light coming up. And then there it is. So there's Mount Rundle. And there is our sleeping buffalo, sacred buffalo guardian mountain. Not actually, Nat. And then you'll see I don't know if you can see way down at the end. There's some red bulbs on those wires over there. That's the high water mark. Now, I need to take you down, Diane, to... we need to cross and go left a little ways. And then after... he's no kidding. Oops. Sorry, it's just the screen. There we are. Now the text thing, there it is. Oh, come on. I've lost the text. I think it's this one. No, that's the one. Sorry, if I've lost what you're typing, I cannot see it now. No idea. Not that one. Sorry, this is what it looks like when I'm trying to figure out. Hey, Diane, do you remember? I don't know why I can't see what you're writing anymore. It's, oh, swipe left. Ah, there you are. Ha 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 ha. There, you're all back now. Giants. Well, we're among giants when we're in this part of the world. So the giants are the great trees. So I want to take Diane down to the left on the far side. And there's art to the right as well, but we're going to pick our battles. So, just being silly. So the art in nature. Now this walk down here, I have a few bigger pieces. Yeah, once again, here's this little reminder. There we are. There we are. Give us space, see? So they leave those up year round now, but it is this time of year as we start to move into the rut. Oh, there's someone swimming. Far side, see? I don't know if you can quite make him or her out, but yeah. Hi, Mary. So it is beautiful, beautiful swimming weather out there. This is lovely. This one is by Michael Corner, and it's called A Path. And you'll see the deer in there. Diane has seen deer walking around town. Of course, we also haven't. This one is called A New Beginning again, and once again, the feather, and that's Gordon Wesley. Wesley is from the Stoney Nakoda Nation. And now Cheyenne Bear's Paw. The Bear's Paw is one of the nations that are on the Stoney Nakoda Nation down here, which is just lovely. And I'll show you this. So what we grew up calling Morley is Mini Thinny now, but the eye with the little chapeau, the little hat on top, is kind of the tongue against the roof of the mouth. So Oganina, I would attempt saying that, but that's Cheyenne Bear's Paw, which is really cool. And that is in, they say, the Stoney Nakoda language. Lovely thing to see. And now I'll come back to Carter Ryan here because there's so many images of this now, of this lovely canoe being portaged by the bears. And of course, if you go into Manitoba, you get up to Portage la Prairie, for example. And, the word portage or portage, it's where you'd carry. This is called the beartage, which is pretty classic, but isn't that sort of fun there? And they do have a little sign reminding us not to touch it. Now this one is fun. This one's got a little door on it. See this one over the right? It's a neat little piece of art. Yeah, Worlds Within. I like it. Dan Hudson. And I do know Dan, and there it is. Now, I just love, now I'm a bit of a junkie when it comes to all of that, deep space astrology. And I remember with the new telescope out there, they focused on what looked like one empty, basically a centimeter in space. And it turns out there's like 5 galaxies in there. Oh, well, thank you. Yes, it's, thank you, Barbara. I think it's really important to acknowledge the artist. So Ralph Waldo Emerson right here, The Earth Laughs in Flowers. That's certainly the truth this year. We've just had such a gorgeous season of wildflowers. At the top, some of you joined me. I did a trip at the very top of Snow King in Jackson, and I think it was the most beautiful one. So look at the forest nymph and spirit. So this is Cedar Mueller, who is not an artist I know, but what a lovely piece right there. Those are mule deer. You tell by the big ears and the short tails. And then this is I really love this one right behind us here. This is, now Peg Abbott. I know Peg. And she has been, it's called A Room with a View. And look at that, so I guess a chickadee up there. Really lovely, that one. So, lovely. That's nice to see. And yeah, so Peg is, well known. She's been in the valley for a long, long time. Now we have a permanent piece of art coming up here. And this permanent piece over here on the left kind of represents as the river is starting to speed up as it comes down. So River Ribbons. This is 2017, Alex Caldwell. But isn't that just a lovely bit? So this is the one, I guess it's the only permanent piece that we have along here. This area, by the way, coming down through here is where you have a huge magpie population. And also, this is the one section through here where we get these burls. See that big mound? I don't, you know what, Tanya, that's a great question. I don't think they'll ever be for sale as far as I know. I suppose some of them might be. You know, we've got so many art galleries here in Banff and over in Canmore as well. But I don't, see, they've had these going up for a couple of years now, so I just love it. So Lynn Hurris is showing us Raven Time. And that is one stark raven, Matt. I was chatting with a raven this morning who was telling me all sorts of stories. So our ravens, of course, stay all winter. The largest ravens in the world are the Rocky Mountain ravens. So, and then if everyone's entitled to a favorite bird, but I think kingfishers are wonderful. We don't get to see them too often, but they are around. So there's belted kingfisher and fireweed by Libby Amber. Libby, I don't know. But the kingfishers are being seen at the moment around the marshlands. But look at that gorgeous piece there. So, hi, Peter. So isn't that nice to see? So what we're going to do, Diane, is we're going to start to wander back. If we were to continue this way, eventually what happens is you go up and over stairs and you end up down at the Bow Falls. But you're very welcome, Tanya. Yeah, it's become a real tradition, the art walk. And of course, public art's been a big deal both in Banff and Canmore. I did work for several years in economic development for Canmore, Kananaskis. And I remember when we moved towards having a lot of public art, you know what? First comes the artist, and then what comes? The critic. And people would come in and say, I'm pro public art, but I don't like that piece. Well, you know what? Something like this, which is seasonal, is nice because we can keep it mixed up. So what I'm going to do with Diane, we're going to walk up past. Here's the YWCA, but that was our old hospital. And fortunately, in the pandemic, we didn't have to start it up again, which was good news. But we're going to go up and see the flowers at the Cascades of Time Gardens, because the flowers are here. Well, if we're hitting freezing on Thursday, you know, we might start. Now, again, freezing in the morning and sunny in the afternoons. The flowers will survive that. But there was a little bit of fresh snow a few days ago up around the Lake Louise area. Patty, I totally agree. Community-based art. Do you know I went through a very short phase when I was still writing books? And I mean, I've written several books, but I actually got an easel. My brother and my father are both painters. And I tried. That is not my skill set. I have huge respect for visual artists. And I just don't think it's a skill set I have. And I also think I've climbed mountains for so long that, I mean, I can barely hold a pen with, you know, just the way the muscles work in my hands. That's my excuse anyway. But see, here's a map of the whole art walk here. So if you would like to come and take this, everyone, full artist biographies and event information. Oh, September 30th, by the way, for people asking when it's going on. There you go. So there you could have a whole little read about all those different artists. So, yeah, we started in Central Park. We started here on the Nancy Paw Bridge, just on the side, and we wandered around. We've looped around to here, and we're coming back. So that's what we've done is our little walk today. And there's so much more, but we're going to go and head up. So I want to thank everyone for coming along with us today. And I do know I haven't been great about the calendar. Well, actually, I have someone theoretically doing that for me. So it's actually a conversation that I need to have with them. Miso Chu, right there. That is Margot Petrov. Interesting. That must be her puppy, I would think. So nice to see you, Anna Marine. Ladies and gentlemen, remember to come out to the Big B, and you can come any time of year. Now, just so Diane is here, she's flying home on Thursday. Are you ready to go home, Diane?
No.
No. Here, let everyone. There you go. I'm gonna give you the gimbal. You can be in charge of the gimbal there, all by yourself. There you go. Here, give me your phone. I know we don't have any problems. There we go. I'm gonna get some action shots.
It has been absolutely amazing, incredible, beautiful. Patrick is just the most wonderful guide. I can't explain just how fortunate and how lucky I feel to be here. But, you know, like we all say, you come and you really don't want to leave. And you really don't want to leave. It's going to be sad to go home. But it just kind of makes you really appreciate nature and beauty and animals. That it's just been wonderful. So it makes you think that, okay, I've got to come back now. So maybe next year.
But now that Diane has a passport, she can go
Yes, I can go
all
anywhere.
over the world. But also this, as it says back here behind us, wilderness is not a luxury, but a necessity of spirit. I think that's pretty true, isn't it?
I agree.
Lisa's saying, will you be moving here soon? Hey, Sarah. Well, there's this whole like visa thing that Americans need. But also I think what I do want to say is people are sending you hugs.
Hugs, everybody.
But I do think what's been fun for Diane here as well is realizing how much more you're actually capable of as well. You get out walking and
Beyond my expectations.
yeah, we went up in the Spray Valley the other day, places I can never take you on virtual tours because there's no reception, and up walking at 1,700 meters above sea level, and climbing uphill. So, did you move from Martin? You did. Martin's here. Hey, Marty, nice to see you. There, by the way, is our little community there. So that's fun. And one more little piece of art. And then I witnessed many things. C'est Jennifer d'Entremont. That looks like witnessing many things. So nice to have you here, Marty. Marty, I'm going to try and get out to the coast maybe in November. It's so just the next little while, everyone. I have a group arriving from all over the States, and on Thursday heading down. I get home the 17th. Then I have a group from Ireland coming over here to do farm visits, and that'll be great fun. And we're even spending a night up at the crossing, Saskatchewan River Crossing. I already know that's going to be a night of pub and singing. I just know it. And then I'm going to head to the Maritimes and even Newfoundland Bay, and then off to Croatia. So lots of travel the next couple of months, which I'm looking forward to, but it's nice to be home for this week too, and sleeping in my own bed. And then November, December, I'm going to have a little bit of downtime. And then for those of you, hi Sue, and then for those of you who have already contacted me, we'll have all the details up about Oaxaca, Mexico in January. We'll have those up really soon. So we're going to wander straight up this little path here, everyone. And we're going to go, Diane and I are going to go into the Cascade Times Gardens and go look at the flowers. And then I think it's going to be straight to, eat, drink, and be merry for the rest of the day. So very last thing, it's always good to finish on a note to keep you all hooked. So I need to tell you about, because we went out swimming yesterday, right, in Two Jack Lake, and it was very, very cold. So Finn did jump in with me, and I swam out. But then all of a sudden, I didn't realize, but Diane brought her bikini along, and she got chatting with this fellow. And all of a sudden, it was amazing, because you shouldn't be changing in public.